From Interior Alaska's most trusted news source, this is the Fbx Evening News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Trial began this morning for a North Pole man faced with 27 counts of sexual abuse of a minor.
45-year-old Alan Hughes has been in custody for the alleged rape and repeated abuse of 3 children. Details emerged after the first of the alleged victims took to the stand to describe the abuse that reportedly began when she was about 3 years old. The girl said she was raped by Hughes numerous times and also forced to have sex with a minor boy. The girl chose to testify from another room in the courthouse so she didn't have to see the defendant. The jury listened to over 2 hours of testimony and questions from lead prosecutor Earl Peterson. Both attorneys made their opening arguments this morning in front of the jury as well.
You're going to hear the story of an unhappy family. Now, this is not an unhappy family that was torn apart by sexual abuse. You will hear allegations, and let's put this right up front, of the most horrific nature.
It happened not twice. It happened not 3 times. It happened over and over and over again.
The search continues for the body of a man who has been missing in the Chena River since Sunday. Village public safety officers have spent 3.5 days trying to locate 30-year-old Tyler Cover after he and a friend jumped off the Centennial Footbridge downtown. The other man was able to get out of the river unharmed, but Cover never surfaced. Tanana Chiefs Conference has had assistance from Fairbanks Police, Fairbanks Fire, and today Fort Wainwright joined in the search for Cover's body. So far, 12-inch mesh nets meant to catch a body in the river have been unsuccessful. Family members spoke to us today about Cover and their hopes of finding his body.
It's been really tough. We're really sad that he's gone and we can't find him, and we just really want to find him so we can be at peace and Tyler can be at peace.
And we thank the people very much for their support and their volunteer work.
Tyler had big dreams and he had a big heart.
Tyler was a free spirit.
The 32nd Annual Alaska Tribal Court Conference continued earlier today at the Westmark Hotel. Domestic violence was a key issue of focus, setting the second day of discussion into motion. Legal experts and tribal justice leaders spoke about the framework of laws related to family violence, the challenges of implementing them, and the current state of domestic violence in Native communities. Questions of tribal jurisdiction on matters related to the topic were clarified in relation to an opinion made by the Alaska Attorney General last week. The court's decision made it easier for tribes to enforce domestic violence restraining orders. Administrator Wilson Justin says tribal and state leaders are beginning to confront the challenges produced by domestic violence.
It takes a certain amount of leadership and a certain amount of courage to speak directly to the families involved and say, we just need to stop this. There's a reason why it's going on. There's a reason why it should be stopped, and there's plenty enough reasons not to have it occur. That's beginning to happen. There is no Athabascan word for domestic violence. It's something that couldn't possibly happen in our traditions. There's no place in our language for that kind of word.
All week we have been checking in with candidate filings for the October 6th municipal election. Today we touch base with the city of North Pole. The city's filing period opened Monday and closes at 5 p.m. on August 14th. There are 3 positions up for grabs this year, as the city mayor and 2 council members will be elected. Current Mayor Bryce Ward has filed a letter of intent with the Alaska Public Offices Commission, but had not filed with City Clerk Kathy Weber as of this morning. The 2 at-large council seats are currently filled by Michael Welch and Sharon Hunter. Welch is eligible to rerun, but Hunter has termed out. Similar to the mayoral race, no candidates have filed with Weber to run for city council. She says that's actually quite normal at this stage of the filing period.
A lot of times, especially out here in North Pole, they like to wait till the last minute. So it's usually Friday the 14th, 3 o'clock, all of a sudden that's when I'll get all my candidates. So you like to see candidates who really want to do it. They have it in them that they really want to come and make a difference. So if one person runs or 2 people run, to me, it's like that person that really wants to make a difference in their community.
All right, when we come back, we start a unique series tonight with Stephanie Woodard delving into numerous unsolved murder cases in the Fairbanks area.
That's right. Also, only 3 days remain until the Tanana Valley Fair opens its doors, and this year will feature many changes. One is quite explosive. We'll explain when we come back.
Welcome back. The city of Fairbanks has coupled with the police department to shed new light on 14 unsolved murder cases in hopes of solving them. Stephanie Woodard sat down with detectives and will be looking at each of the cases. She has more now in this report.
The city of Fairbanks has given a face to the name of 14 unsolved homicide victims on their website, a long work in progress that was unveiled in late July.
The chief and the mayor are very invested in the unsolved homicide cases and seeing that we can get those resolved.
Resolving those cases takes hundreds of hours and dedication by a team of detectives at the Fairbanks Police Department.
I mean, you could work on those cases full time for a long time and not run out of things to do.
We sat down with those investigators that have determined the solvability of each case based on the evidence that is as old as the earliest unsolved case, 1983. And there are a number of aspects to determine that, beginning with the suspects themselves.
Is that suspect still alive? Are the witnesses still alive? Are they still available? Is the evidence still available?
But it isn't uncommon, and it's been successfully done by Detective Meredith.
We were successful in the 1995 homicide of Trish Warren on the discount truck stop. A good example of one of those cases that had a high solvability factor, but it needed that attention to detail and it needed that time to go by for witnesses to start talking again and for all of them to be re-interviewed.
The team is confident in quite a few.
If you look at a solvability factor that we have that are more solvable than other cases, I think mahogany is one of them.
911, what is your emergency? I just saw a lady outside running across in front of my place. I went to look and she's on the ground and there's blood all over her back.
And it's being aggressively investigated right now. Detective Adams, he's assigned that case. The 1983 double homicide with Elrod Moore's homicide is a case that I've worked on extensively, and I think that's solvable. I think the Edward Surviga homicide is very solvable. The Fela Avery case is very solvable. That's just a few of them that have a high solvability factor.
Now, by putting these cases out there in public,
we want people to take a look at these cases, to look at the photos and see if there's anything that they remember, even if they think it's not important.
They ask those with information to bring it to light.
Because these are real people, all right, and that goes above loyalty to some people that are out, to people that are out killing other people. So, if you're afraid of those things, just call and let us talk to you about it. Just call and let us know what you know without telling us your name at first.
If you have any information, you can call police or Crime Stoppers anonymously at 450-6500. This is Stephanie Woodard reporting. Medal of Honor recipient Drew Dix is in town holding a community forum to advocate for veteran health care needs. While here, he figured he'd share with friends another one of his projects. Last night, an invite-only crowd previewed a film set to be premiered August 20th in Denver, Colorado. It's a 25-minute film called Draw the Line, and it deals with a problem that's plagued the United States since the country was formed: bullying. Set in 1879 in Tombstone, Arizona, the film follows a man standing up to corruption and intimidation in his community. The film was presented by the Center for American Values and will be released to schools across the country, along with a curriculum designed to discuss ways to deal with bullying. Dix has a starring role in the film and says he wanted to preview it in Fairbanks to get an honest opinion before it's released.
There's no better place than to bring it to my friends to show them what we've been up to. And I really wanted some of the input from the teachers that have seen it, so we can see from them how they can use this as a tool to get the point across of restoring the thought of honor, integrity, and patriotism for your family, community, and country.
Well, 3 more days and the Tanana Valley Fair will open its doors to the public for games, food, and music through the 16th of August. This year's fair will offer new rides from the A1 Amusement out of Toronto, Canada. Also, more food vendors will offer more interesting food choices. In the past, the fireworks show has sometimes been held on late Sunday night or early in the evening, which has led to poor viewing opportunities. However, this year that will all change.
Our fireworks will be on Saturday instead of Sunday. We are a 10-day fair, but Saturday night at 11 o'clock will be our fireworks, so come and enjoy those. Hopefully the weather will cooperate with us on all of that. The last day of the fair is on the 17th, a Sunday, and it will close at 10 o'clock, so we are just really anxious to get this fair off the ground this year and get moving.
Now, tomorrow we'll hear about what kind of entertainment is scheduled and information on promotional days for the kids.
Always fun at the fair.
Absolutely.
All right, Joe Cook is up next with sports and news about an overtime rule change for the North American Hockey League.
Also, local legends get inducted into the State Sports Hall of Fame. Stay tuned for sports.
Welcome back, Interior Alaska. Joe Cook here with your local Wednesday Sportscast. The off-season of change and adjustments continues for the Fairbanks Ice Dogs and the rest of the North American Hockey League. The league released a new overtime format for the upcoming season today. There will be a 3-on-3 sudden death 5-minute period at the end of regulation if there is a tie. The old rule was a 4-on-4 overtime period. There is still a tie. There will be a 3-man shootout to determine the winner of the game. Last year, it was a 5-man shootout format. The rule change to 3-on-3 was made to increase the chances of overtime game-winning goals and less shootouts. The NHL implemented the rule this summer. Last year, there were 144 games that went into an extra period. 93 of those games ended in shootouts, and 51 ended in overtime. The Ice Dogs had 7 games decided by shootouts and 2 in overtime. The new Alaska Baseball League champions have some ties to Fairbanks. Tuesday night in Mulcahy Stadium, the Mat-Su Miners and Anchorage Bucks met for the ABL Top of the World Series. The Bucks took Game 1 62 in 12 innings on Monday. Last night, the Miners forced Game 3 with a 4-3 win. But in the finale, Anchorage had a pitcher who was zoned in. Jim Voiles, a sophomore from Florida State, threw a complete game shutout for the Bucks. He scattered 4 hits and struck out 3. Zane Goritz out of the University of Texas went 3 for 4. He scored a run and had an RBI for the Bucks. Anchorage wins 2-0, and they claim this year's ABL championship. It's their first outright league title since 1996. The Anchorage Bucks manager Mike Grahovic wins his second straight ABL title. If you remember, Grahovic led the Gold Panthers to the ABL title last summer. Where's the best seat in the Carlson Center for a hockey game? You might be able to pick the perfect seat for the season later this month. The Alaska Nanak Hockey Program announced today that it will have their Select a Seat preview on Wednesday, August 26th. The event is from 5 to 8, and hockey fans can buy season tickets before they go on sale to the public. This will be a night of fun as well. Fans will come out. We'll get a sample of the new Carlson Center concessions and local beers and microbrews. Beer will be allowed in certain sections of the Carlson Center this year, sections 101 through 109 and sections 201 through 207. There will also be a drawing for Alaska Airlines tickets. The Select the Seat preview for Nanak Hockey is Wednesday night, August 26th. And a couple of former Ice Dogs will be trading places here and abroad, if you will. Austin Block played for the Ice Dogs from 2007 to 2009. He spent the last couple of years playing overseas and in the ECHL. Block recently inked a deal with the Manchester Monarchs of the ECHL. Before that, he played in Sweden, Finland, and Slovakia. While in Slovakia, he played for Banska and tallied 15 points in 21 games. He finished last season with the Bakersfield Condors and scored 8 points in 14 games. While in Fairbanks, Block finished with 100 points in 110 games. Now, Charlie Thalwald, another former Ice Dog, will go overseas this upcoming season. Thalwald signed a pro contract for a team in France on Tuesday. The 6'3", 215-pound forward scored 33 points in 49 games for the Ice Dogs in the 2010-2011 season. Recently, the Interior was recognized as part of the 2015 Alaska Sports Hall of Fame class. The induction ceremony was Sunday in Anchorage. Lathrop product Reggie Tung was inducted in this year's class. Tung starred at Lathrop High School and played college football at Oregon State. He was drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs in 1996 and played 10 NFL seasons. He played for the Seahawks, Jets, and Raiders before retiring in 2005. He finished his career with 12 interceptions, 500 tackles, and 9.5 sacks, the most for an Alaskan in the NFL ever. The Nordic Ski Club of Fairbanks was inducted as a major contributor. The local ski club hosts tons of skiing events yearly. They also hosted the Junior Olympics, Junior National Championships, and the Arctic Winter Games. And Ted DeLeon was also part of the 11-member Hall of Fame class. DeLeon coached boys basketball for Allison and West Valley. He was a coach for over 30 years. DeLeon won 2 state titles with Allison in the 60s and led the Wolfpack to the state title in 1990. He also coached high school football, wrestling, and track and field.
I think the biggest thing is through coaching and all the things you go through is all the friendships that you make and your lifelong friendships. Kids still come up to me with their kids and say, hello, coach, and so that's pretty special to me.
And that'll do it for sports tonight. Your full weather forecast with Mike Schultz is next after the break, and we'll catch you next time.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back into Fbx Evening News for a Wednesday night. Mike Schultz with you once again talking about the weather, and what a day it's been. It started off this morning at 7:30 with thunder and lightning, and it's wrapped up just a little while ago with more storms and heaviest rain I've seen in a long time. What a day. In fact, Nick Beatty was out this morning, was able to capture some of this storminess. Look at that great photograph at the airport with a lightning bolt coming out of the sky. You don't see that very often in the Fairbanks area. We've had a lot of thunderstorms this year, and a great photograph, Nick. Thanks again for submitting that. Thanks to all you folks that submit your photos at ktvf11.com. Here's your numbers. 75 degrees currently. The thunderstorm has rolled on through. The low last night was 50 degrees, record high 93 in 1994, record low 33 in 1946. You folks in Chena Hot Springs Road will probably be getting a little bit of it as we speak right now. Sunrise this morning, 5:05, sunset at 10:48, 17 hours and 43 minutes of daylight, a loss of 7 minutes from yesterday. On the satellite and radar, you can see those storms lining up this afternoon, the ninjas roaring through the Fairbanks area. In fact, looking at a closer shot on the radar, look at the storms moving very rapidly. That's what kind of saved us from really getting a massive amount of rain. It was very heavy as it was, but it could have been more. This thing had been moving so fast, but you'll see out to the west, nothing going on. We're looking at a good evening for the rest of the evening. What's going on across the rest of the state? Well, the rain there's falling once again around southeast Alaska. Juneau at 67, 63 at Ketchikan. Around the Anchorage Bowl, 70 degrees, sunshine there. Kodiak, 58, kind of cool. Cold Bay, 51, even cooler in cloudy skies up and down the west coast. Nice day in Bethel. Not too bad at Nome, 60 degrees there. Barrow, 40 degrees, cloudy skies. And Fort Yukon, partly cloudy and 66. Lower 48 weather. Well, the temperatures have cooled off a little bit in the Seattle area. Still very hot over the desert southwest. Even a few showers and thunderstorms over the southern California areas. And very hot once again in Dallas, 103. Another hot day in Denver, 96. Thunderstorms rumbling around the Minneapolis area. Over the eastern side of the country, looking at more thunderstorm activity and very hot temperatures, 95 in Atlanta. Another hot day in Washington, D.C., below 90 degrees in New York. What's going on in the satellite and radar? A little bit of shower and thunderstorm activity moving with this area of a small area of low pressure moving across the eastern half of the country. Out to the west, more showers and thunderstorms moving across the northern Rockies. And then here's the moisture moving ashore. That's all coming from what was once a Hurricane Guillermo, and now it's basically a tropical depression for all practical purposes, but still feeding some moisture across to give the folks there some relief. No relief expected for the deep south this weekend. Look at those temperatures. Real feel 110 to 120 degrees, risk of heat exhaustion and reduced air quality. A very ugly weekend for all of the deep south. So keep our fingers crossed for those folks. And again, the jet stream way up to the north, again, allowing all the hot air to move back to the north and over the south and the eastern half of the country, cooling down a little bit as some cooler air comes in from Canada. Well, back to Alaska for tomorrow, partly cloudy skies at Barrow and Nome. A few scattered showers for Fort Yukon. Here in the interior, looking really good. Lingering showers for Delta, otherwise mostly sunny skies in Healy and Fairbanks. Not as warm as it was, 70 degrees for the high tomorrow. Over southeast Alaska, the rains continue for both Juneau and Ketchikan. While out to the southwest, it looks like for the most part, partly cloudy skies in Cold Bay and Bethel, but mostly sunny skies for Kodiak. And over south central regions, not too bad there either. In fact, a few clouds for Anchorage and Valdez, and mostly sunny skies at Homer. Okay, our forecast for the remainder of the evening, like I said, it looks like the worst has moved through. We shouldn't see any more showers tonight. The latest radar is showing nothing out to the west. That's good. 55 degrees, the overnight low. Tomorrow's forecast, beautiful. Lots of sunshine, very pleasant temperatures, and the 5-day outlook looking pretty good right on through the weekend. Maybe a chance of some isolated showers on Sunday and Monday, but temperatures will still remain right around the 70-degree mark. Overnight lows in the 50s, and it still looks really good for the opening of the fair on Friday when we're just looking at 72 degrees and partly cloudy skies.
Well, we'll take that. That sounds
what a
great.
Storm.
That was. Wow. It was intense. At one point, I could not see the hills, just nothing but a wall of water.
It was
crazy.
Coming down pretty hard on the roof there. I'm surprised we didn't see any hail. We had a lot of lightning, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Reminded thunderstorms back home in Virginia. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like it.
They're out of the picture now.
Very good. All right, thanks, Mike. That will wrap up this edition of the Fairbanks Evening News. We are glad you could join us.
Okay, tonight on NBC Nightly News, the mysterious debris found on an island in the Indian Ocean has been identified and verified as being from the missing Malaysian plane. That's up next with Lester Holt.
All right, you can join us here 6 days a week at 6 and 11, or online anytime at webcenter11.com.
Okay, we're going to leave you tonight with more video from the Tanana Valley Fairgrounds. From all of us here at the News Center, have a great night.
Good night.